This interview is brought to you by Burn It Up Coaching 21-Day Challenge. If you're an entrepreneur or high achiever, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling lost, you want to really dive into your purpose, you want to get that clarity, you want to ignite yourself so you can succeed like never before. Maybe you're taking massive action, but you don't see the results and you're not sure why. You're not sure what the blocks are. You're not sure like what is stopping you, your mindset. Are you doing it wrong? What is the missing piece? If you want to find out what that missing piece is and get clarity on your purpose, get clear on what actions are your 80-20, the most leveraged, prioritized actions to produce the results, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, and let me know you want to do your 21-day challenge. You want to grow, you want to establish yourself as that powerhouse, get those habits, get those daily rhythms in line. So your 21-day challenge goal is crushed. You succeed like never before. That's the 21-day challenge. If you are interested and ready to knock it out, send me a message. Looking forward to talking to you about it. Next up is our iTunes review of the week. And this week it's by, I believe it was Tara Novan. And Tara says, cheering you on. Chris Burns offers a positive, encouraging, and motivational oasis in podcast land. He's genuinely committed not just to his own success, but to his clients' and listeners' ability to become their greatest possible selves, bringing in a wide range of voices to reinforce that message. Chris will cheer you on to new levels of success and fulfillment. Yes, we definitely will, 100%. And if you want to give us a review, and let us know what you think of the show and give us that feedback, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and let us know that you are loving the show or how you would love for it to be improved and what we can do to make it even more valuable for you. We're always committed to growing even more with you. Okay, so go ahead and go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self and give us a review. Thank you so much. This next human being is a powerhouse, super athlete turned into an entrepreneur, helping people to face adversity. I'm going to introduce him in just a second, and I want you to know that in life, everything can transform in an instant with the power of a decision, with the power of seeing things from a new perspective, a new angle. So be ready for that wisdom that Lance is going to be sharing, his story, his journey that has made the difference in his life and his clients' lives and his community's life. And he just launched a podcast doing amazing things. So make sure you stay tuned because he's going to have some gold to share with you. Okay, let's introduce him and then we'll bring him on. Lance is an ambitious entrepreneur on a journey to inspire the masses by helping individuals achieve their life purpose. His goal is to help people grow their mindset, develop a healthy relationship with themselves, and overcome adversity so they can go on to achieve greatness in their lives. He created the University of Adversity podcast to share life stories of people and entrepreneurs digging deep and highlighting the challenges, life struggles, and adversity they had to overcome in order to achieve amazing success in their lives. It's Lance's mission to help people deal with adversity and show them that it's actually a gift that they can use to fuel and ignite their life purpose and passion. And absolutely, we're blessed today. Lance is here to rock out with us. Lance, you ready to just like totally smash us out of the park, bro?
Oh man, for sure. Thanks so much for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Super pumped.
Thanks for being here, man. We had an amazing pre-interview call, just getting to know each other and sharing our stories and our journeys. And I know this is going to be amazing and super valuable for everyone who's tuned in. So let's go ahead and dive right into the question of the day, which is how to be aligned. So Lance, what does alignment mean to you, and how do you get aligned?
Alignment to me is just basically knowing that what you're doing feels right with kind of in your gut.
Yeah.
That intuition, that feeling that the path that you're on just feels right in all areas. And that kind of alignment comes through different ways, different messages in your day-to-day life. And you really just need to be aware of those things because it's not always what you think is going to happen. And I feel you start to pay attention and you start to get better at picking that up. And eventually you realize, wow, what just happened? I feel good about what I'm doing. I feel aligned. So, for me, that's kind of how it happened.
It's awesome, man. I love it. Everyone has a different experience. And, I love that you mentioned in your gut, you really feel that alignment when you are on the right track, when your whole body, your soul, your being is aligned with that purpose, with that intention, with that outcome. And, we're going to be diving into that even more about how to live a life when you really make those powerful decisions to live your best life ever. And before we get into that conversation, tell us a little bit more about what you stand for and a little bit more about the University of Adversity adversity. And then once you share that, then we'll go back into your journey. But just off the top, just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I basically just, want to make impact. And I went through a lot of different struggles, and I wanted to realize, what was the turning point that made me sort of go to where, start creating and start doing these things. And it was through my adversity. It was through the challenges that I've been through.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't gone through those things, then I wouldn't want to grow, and I wouldn't want to see the broader perspective of everything and go on to create, what it is I want to create. And University of Adversity is kind of being able to take those stories that happen to everybody and be able to highlight those pain points and those struggles and the challenges, that more importantly, how they've been able to overcome those and use them as fuel to go on to ignite whatever it is they want to do in their niche, And that for me is super important, to be able to share that with people, because sometimes it's just that one story. Sometimes it's that one person that you connect with and be like, oh man, that's me.
Yeah.
And boom, you make a new decision. Your life is a different trajectory. So
totally, man. I love it 100%. And, I had a similar intention with starting Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, just sharing that wisdom with people. And also, so I could learn, so I could be inspired, so I could be improved and grow to become my greatest possible self. And I know for you, like, yes, you've faced challenges in the past, and that to be an elite performer, a top performer, you're always going to be stretching. You're always going to be challenging yourself, facing adversity. Like I said in your intro, it's like, it's going to keep happening. So how do you prepare yourself for that? How do you stay inspired? How do you equip yourself? And that's what your podcast is really helping people do, and your movement, your message. And I think that's really awesome, man.
Thanks. Yeah. It's kind of providing people with, the toolbox and the stories, and each person has a different way of dealing with it. And that's a beautiful thing. And you get better at dealing with adversity. The more things happen to you, the better you get it. And you realize that, it's happening for you, not to you. And when you start to realize that and you start to shift, it actually becomes a better feeling, because you think, well, why is this? What is going on with this? What can I learn from this? Yeah. So and using those lessons to help you in your own life. And each story I hear, I grow from. I listen to, and I'm learning, and it's value. And it's we all need that. And it's just nice to connect with people who are going through what feels like the same sort of struggles and journey.
100%, man. I love it. And Lance, let's be real. You weren't always this equipped to handle adversity. And, there's going to be challenges that you have to grow through moving forward. And that's in the future. And we want to focus a little bit more on the past and your journey of how you got to where we are today, those challenges, those obstacles that gave you the wisdom that, when you were faced with adversity, you had to step up to the plate. You had to grow. That, like, there was no other choice. It's either, die or grow. That's like the only two choices. And you choose growth. Because you're an elite performer, you're a former athlete, like super athlete. So let's go back into that journey and tell us a little bit more about how you got to where we are today.
Well, yeah, I started out playing competitive level of hockey. That was pretty much my life growing up. And then what happened was I made some silly decisions when, kind of you had the choice of whether to, go pro or not go. And it sort of, it ended for me fast. So in my head that was going to be my career. So that once that ended, I went through a big kind of depression style of lifestyle, and, feeling sorry for myself, going through a bunch of different things, thinking that I was missing out on a lot, but really I wasn't. And once I realized that lifestyle of the everyday grind wasn't that great. And so I started to go through that, and I started to get into the partying and all that, and tried all different kinds of jobs and stuff like that. And then got into the bars, got into bartending. And I like that because I truly, this is where I kind of found a bit of my passion, is because I truly love connecting with human beings. Yeah. And I found that in that industry, you can connect with people, and you're generally looking after them in a way. But as bartending and all that lifestyle sort of unfolds, it kind of takes over your life if you let it. Yeah. And I told myself I wouldn't, but I did. So then that allowed me to travel. A lot of good things came out of it. Yeah. And what happened was I kind of went too far to one side, and it sort of sucked me in, and it just became toxic, and I just wasn't happy with what direction I was going. And aside from that, with a lot of family stuff, losing two people in my family very close to me within 18 months, it was just a lot of stuff happening. And just sort of, I just decided, like, where am I going right now? Like, do I want to do this? Is this going to get me to where I want to be as being a service to people? And that's truly, I found out, like, what is it I like about the hospitality? And it was helping people. So I thought, how can I do that in a way that's actually going to benefit people? So then, I started to work on myself. I started to, look into the online business world and how I could do that and how I can help people sort of realize that. So then, yeah, I just went down the path I've been on for the last 18 months or so, and just been trying to make an impact by being service to people, but in the best way possible, instead of, the toxic style of relationships where it's all involved with booze and bad food.
Yeah.
It's more of like inspiration and stuff in that direction. So
yeah, man, I totally resonate with that, and I think we talked about it on our pre-interview call. I hit my rock bottom. I was totally going down the wrong path, getting into trouble and drugs, and like just totally not being my greatest possible self. And it was from that moment where I was like, dude, like, I'm throwing away my life. If I keep going down this path, it's game over. I'm going to be in jail for the rest of my life, whatever the outcome might be. And it's just like, I wasn't okay with that. And so I used that rock bottom to springboard back up, and that was some pretty difficult circumstances that I was in. And you mentioned that you lost some really, really amazing people to you. And I'm curious how that impacted your journey and your vocabulary of adversity and how you relate to it. Like what did that shift in your mindset before you lost these people? I think it was your dad and your brother, before you lost them. And then like after, how did you see adversity?
Well, for me, aside from what happened before with different events leading up to that, I was battling with the constant trying to just get over the hangover. That was my adversity. Yeah. And to just go to work, I was running bars, and to go to work and just be clear. Yeah. And my adversity there was just kind of trying to just get through my shift, get through, feel good again. And then as soon as I felt good again, it's like, oh, I feel good. I can just celebrate.
Yeah.
And that was the challenges, as I'm sure you can relate, day to day. And being in that industry, when it's around you, it's very easy to get sucked in. But that was it. And then once I was faced with losing my younger brother, that was the first time. I mean, I had lost a lot of like grandparents and stuff before that, which was tough. But once you lose somebody like, very close in your immediate family like that, that was the first time. And it really hit me in a way where I didn't spend enough time with them that I should have. And there was a lot of regret there. But then that also made me think, well, what am I doing? Like what decisions am I making? And then from there, I spiraled down even worse. But then once the end of the year came, 2017 came, is when I decided that's it. I needed to I quit drinking for the entire year.
Dude, I made a commitment to do that for 2019. I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it in 2019 as well.
Yes.
Actually, again. Yes. Yeah. Well, I wanted to see what 2018 was like. Yeah. To see bringing it back into my life and if it served me. And it really, of course, it's fun. Yeah. But it didn't serve me. No. And so that took me back to where. And then with my dad, losing my dad, that was kind of like, all right, like I need to prove to him that I can do this and I can be successful, because I quit a lot of things. I failed a lot of things while he was alive. And I just, in my heart, I was like, you know what? I'm going to show him wherever he is watching or whatever it is I believe. Right. Just, you figure out that I'm going to make this happen. And that adversity really just said, well, there's no other way. I'm doing this and I'm going to be successful. Yeah. Whatever way it happens, I don't care, but it's going to happen. So it just sort of created more certainty in the path. Do I know how I'm going to get there exactly? No, but I know it's going to happen. Yeah. And that was, losing my dad was sort of like, well, there's no turning back now. This is going to happen. So
yeah. I really appreciate what you said there about creating more certainty, right? It's that conviction, it's the definiteness that I think a lot of people are missing because they're on the fence. They're like, well, I want to be great and I also want to be comfortable, right? And I want life to be easy, and I want things to come natural to me. And it's like, if I have to step outside of my comfort zone, then it's I'm not really that committed. I'm not really that interested. And it really does sometimes take, unless you're listening right now and you want to make a different decision, you want to say, you know what, I'm not going to wait till I hit rock bottom. And most of the time, it really takes hitting that rock bottom, feeling so much pain and suffering till we're like ready to say no more. I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I'm not going to allow my life to just be mediocre. I'm not going to allow my life to just get by. I'm not going to allow myself to go another day without really cherishing my loved ones and the people who are closest to me, my family, without letting them know like how much I truly care about them and appreciate them. Because like for me, I was like, I was ready to not see my parents in freedom again. You know, I was like ready to be in jail for the rest of my life. So it's like, you know, to really have freedom and opportunity brought back to me, it's like, I'm not gonna take this for granted ever again, you know. And of course there's like momentary times when we do, and it's like we're able to use that suffering, that pain and the adversity to be able to say, I'm so certain of what I want. These are my boundaries. This is what I will and will not tolerate. I know what I value. I know who I am. And if I deviate from this, I suffer. I have pain. I like, you know, life sucks for me. And you got really clear on that and certain on what you will and won't allow in your life.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, is that there's no set path. It's just that I know it's, you know, there's the goals that you write down, but who knows? I expect things to happen. I expect them to be, you know, curveballs thrown at me. And that's kind of what you have to expect out of life, because if there's no dragons to slay on the way, what kind of life would it be if everything was perfect, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, like I think about it and I go, well, okay, what if I had this goal, and what if everything was just perfect and it just took me there? What would I learn? Like, what fun is that?
Yeah.
What do you and that's what anyone listening got to understand, is that the challenges are the fun stuff. That's where you grow. Wow. When everything's easy, there's fulfillment, but there's the growth and overcoming that challenge is what, for me personally, is where I feel good. Yeah. Right. Is that overcoming it. And yeah, I mean, it's super powerful when you understand that is kind of the fuel that we need. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this the subconscious mind or our mind or conscious mind tunes out things that are the same. So if things are the same and consistent, we stop noticing them, because our brain's like, hey, I want to be as efficient as possible. And if I know the wall's always going to be white, then I'm not going to pay attention anymore that the wall's white, because it stops being relevant to us, because it's no longer new. So our mind tunes out those things, and it's like, to save brain power and focus on only the new things, we start tuning out the things that are the same. So contrast of challenges, contrast of pain, contrast of suffering and you know, growth opportunities, like that is what keeps it fresh and new and makes us value the growth, makes us value the victory, makes us value the success and the prosperity and the abundance. Otherwise, it would be all like the same, and it would be all monotone. It would be all like just same old, and we would stop being as appreciative and grateful. At least I think that's up until now how it's been. I think in the future we will have the automatic programming, so to speak, of appreciation, of gratitude, of being conscious and enlightened, so that we love our lives and we're able to generate that with like on autopilot, and it's good, you know. And right now I think that there's a lot of suffering and old paradigms and limiting beliefs and thinking that we have to work through, that is really difficult to get to, like being super prosperous and having everyone have access to, you know, information that helps them grow and be their best self.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I feel like the more people practice gratitude and meditation, the more it becomes just a second nature.
Yep.
And when you do practice that, anybody that is watching and has practiced it, once you do it long enough, it just becomes second nature, and you really look at the bright side of everything, and more happy, more positive things come into your life. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, up until now, like I like the way you phrase that, is, you know, you have to enjoy the light, you got to go through the darkness. Yep. And I mean, but also I feel there's a shift, and it would be at some point, I think we're going to be able to enjoy things without having to go through that. You shouldn't have to hit rock bottom. But right now, that's kind of the story where people can appreciate. But if you can appreciate it without having to hit that rock bottom,
That's right.
and I mean, by all means, that's the life hack.
Right. Right.
That's the true life hack.
That's the key right there.
Enjoy the life's gifts without having to endure life's pain. I mean, but and I love seeing like the human involved, you know, and just the more you talk to conscious people waking up, more conscious people, the more you start to see. And it's definitely improved over the last 5-10 years. So it's only going to get better in the next, 10, 20 years.
Absolutely, so. Man. And something you mentioned is like when you can feel that pain that other people are going through, then and appreciate that and take that on, take their wisdom on as your own and ingrain it and integrate it, then you take different actions. And it's through storytelling that of other people's experiences and journey in life that you can really ingrain that. It's the subconscious mind. How we reach it is through stories, right? Information is a dime a dozen. Information is so common, so like all over the place. It's through building a personal brand and, having like yourself, having this podcast that people are going to be able to relate with you, Lance, on a whole new level because you're becoming the host, the provider, the storyteller for people who tune in to be able to grow themselves. And their subconscious mind is going to be fed with who do I have to be? Who are these people being to overcome their challenges and their situations, circumstances? And without even knowing, they're preparing themselves to handle adversity, right? Like the tools, the resources, like we mentioned, having a tool belt to handle that. Someone might not even consciously be aware that like the story that they just heard is going to serve them, and it's going to come up in their mind in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years when they are facing, the loss of a loved one or something like that. And because they heard it on your show or Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self or whatever it might be, like they will be able to leverage that for strength. And that's so freaking powerful, man.
Yeah, just hearing that just gives me goosebumps because that's exactly it. And we talk about alignment. Yeah. This is one project that I truly feel that is my alignment 100%. Yes. And it just I get so excited because I just love hearing people's stories. I love them sharing and I love that feeling of just talking to them and digging deep and just really bringing that out of them. Just like how you would do this. It's just such a rewarding, fulfilling feeling that something I haven't had in so long. And I didn't know I was going to start a podcast. I didn't expect that. It was something I wanted to do for so long. I always loved the radio and TV. And I was like, how do I become one of those guys, you know? And to be able to just have a show where people come and talk, it's truly amazing, man. Like, and connecting with people like yourself. And it's really talk about alignment, man. That's something that I could just, talk about all day.
So blessed. We're so blessed, man. And one thing we haven't really touched on is through your transition of, losing your dad and your younger brother, to like making this new declaration, going this new direction in life, and till now, like what happened in that time period? How did you really start mastering yourself and creating your reality? And I know you've started businesses and doing cool stuff like that. So tell us a little bit more about that period in your life.
It all started with personal development, man. That's really, if I could say to anybody, you want to start before looking too big and, dropping a bunch of money, work on yourself.
Yep.
Like work on gratitude. I've said this so many times and I've learned this from my mentors. Start by being grateful for what you have and why you have it, and make sure you do that every single day, and review it and feel it and practice being still, being meditation. That is what got me into the zone to even think about anything like that. Yeah. I would have never have done that before. And from there, you start to learn, you start to become open to more things. You start to read more. Reading is super important.
Yep.
Just growing yourself and getting outside of the box, because we're never going to know everything. We're not going to be able to, what we know is only what we've been conditioned, raised to know, our limited beliefs. There's a big world out there, there's so many things to learn, and you need to be willing to listen and learn and to break false beliefs that you have, because chances are they're false. And just building that confidence that what you say matters and what you think matters, and understanding that everybody that's successful in business, they're just humans. They just built confidence in that specific direction, and they had to start somewhere. So I truly believe that it all starts with just working on yourself, personal development, whatever it is. Find out what you need to work on. What are you good at? What aren't you good at? And take inventory and just start piecing it together. There's so many tools out there, YouTube and audiobooks. It's like there's just an endless library of resources that you just need to buckle down and just do the foundational stuff and work on and just really get clear on where you want to be.
Yeah, if you seek it, you'll find it. It's like seek that clarity, seek the purpose, seek what lights you up, and every day realign with that and say, today I'm going to make another giant step towards discovering who I am and my purpose, and declare that and affirm that, and look yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm an amazing human being, and I'm totally creating and attracting the best things into my life, and then go out and live life and discover and do that work, do the meditation, do the journaling, do the reading, like Lance is saying.
Yeah, and just declare your mission. Like, what is your mission when you get up? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you really want to do? Are you floating, or are you making a declaration of your mission and writing down where your goal? Whether, I don't know, there's so many different ways, 30-day, 90-day, whatever it is.
Right.
Just start with a goal and be specific that you've already received that goal. Put yourself in the place of already being successful.
Yep.
And when you start to think about these things and you start to imagine that person being successful and you're that person, all the things and smells and tastes, whatever you need to do to get super clear, that's when you start to really project yourself into the direction, because it's becoming real. You're writing it down. You're thinking about it. All these things and I still work on this daily to try and and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
And those are the things. Those are the basic things. If you can just do that for a month straight, your life is going to change 100%.
Yep.
And who knows what happens after that? It's up to you. But that's what I did. So
yeah, and I think it's interesting because a lot of people feel like, oh, to do this for a year or a lifetime is like, that's a big commitment, right? And so sometimes we say, if that's too big of a commitment, start with 30 days, start with a week, start with, just starting. And on the flip side of that, it's like, hey, this is really a lifestyle thing. This is like not, I'm going to do it for a season, I'm going to do it when I feel like it. No, it's like, this is who I'm being, this is who I'm becoming to like really show up as my greatest possible self, to live my dream life 1 year from now that I designed, or 5 years from now that I wrote about. I saw the sights, I smelt the smells, I heard the sounds, I tasted the fruit of my labor, so to speak. Like, you got clear on that, and now it's like, okay, what do I need to get to that? Well, shoot, you have to become someone who's relentless, who is unstoppable by whatever life throws at you, whatever challenges, obstacles, difficulties, because that's what it takes to become a person who's worthy of that dream. Like, you have to be willing to go until. And Lance, you have an advantage with having like a sports background, because there's an attitude that like you take no prisoners, so to speak. You're like a team player, and you're all about winning. You're all about like whatever it takes to get to that gold, within, like treating people good and not being like, a bad person. You're going to do everything it takes, like whatever it takes, and I think that a lot of people are lacking that specific quality of being willing to punch through the BS, the fight, the drive. So I'm curious, like, what would you recommend to cultivate that? Because I think that that's a huge asset that you have, that you probably, whether you're aware of it or not, like that's something that really benefits a lot of high achievers.
Oh man, that's so true. And you know what's funny is I never even realized that. And I've had this conversation a couple times. It's popped up, and I realized that you learn so much in sports.
Yeah.
Responsibility, commitment, teamwork.
Yes.
You're not the most important thing here. The team is, and you're only as good as your worst player, and that's always the way it's been. And anybody that's played sports, you just need to understand the advantage you have if you've played a high level. Like, you had to have a certain level of commitment. You had to have this certain level of different characteristics and traits to get there, and to be able to utilize that now in business is huge, because I was sleeping for so long I didn't realize it. And if I would have used those tools when I was running bars, I could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, right? But now anybody that's doing that, trying to make the change without that, I mean, I would go and I would find what I would say, what sport do you like, and which leader is doing well in the space or
Mm,
sport that you like, and find out what they did. Like
mm,
if I read a biography on leadership or on the best leaders, I would just go and study the leaders, study
yeah.
who's killing it.
Yep.
Whether it's social media, the Gary Vaynerchuks, or if whoever is a leader that you look up to, figure out what they say
Mm,
and do what they do. And I mean, I growing up loving hockey, I was always looking at different leaders in there: Steve Yzerman, Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky,
mm,
all these different leaders, and that was sort of what shaped me into what do they do to be the best leader. So yeah, and leadership and communication to me is number one. You got to be able to communicate.
yeah.
You need to be able to get your message across. Because I sat and thought about what makes a good leader the other day, and it's you have to be able to communicate with somebody effectively, and you
Mm,
have to be able to raise their emotion so that they connect with what you're saying
mm,
in a very smooth manner. And I truly believe if you can communicate and elevate the emotion of the conversation with
wow.
people, and they will listen to you, then I mean that's a huge factor that comes from all the stuff that I've learned in sports. That
Tell us more about that. Like, what is how do you raise their emotion to be able to change their state and get them to perform new actions and have the conversation resonate with them at an even deeper like soul level.
yeah, I'm just going on the basis of the people that I resonated with in sports.
Mm,
Somebody that truly can understand their team, can
mm,
understand, have empathy for what people are going through, and to be able to, when they're talking to them, they actually feel like they're being talked to. It's not just like, like a broken record.
mm,
And to raise the emotion, it's kind of the same thing in sales, in persuasion, things like that. You have to be able to effectively raise the state and to have this vision of the future for people to
yeah.
to want to buy into what you're saying. Kind of like Jordan Belfort. He's Jordan Belfort, straight line persuasion. I've been studying the way he is, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to be able to elevate the emotion, that it not this monotone, and to be able to
Mm,
know and tonality, and to be able to raise people's state. And when people are in a high state, just like even when Tony Robbins talks, that's when people learn the best. So you want to get them where they're like almost excited. You got that, that goosebump feeling.
mm,
Anything that is said when you're in that feeling, you're going to retain
mm,
and you're going to buy into. So
yeah.
those are the kind of things that I used to look up to in certain leaders, and that I'm trying to develop myself. I'm
Yeah.
not a pro at it by any means, but I'm working on it, and I feel leadership and communication is huge.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you really use that experience, you leverage that from sports, and then like what was your journey like through business? You mentioned you did tons of personal development. Tell us more about like your business mentors and how those unfolded and some of the lessons that you learned and even adversity that you faced in that.
Yeah, with business has been by no means was I a business person. I'm still learning.
Yep.
I model my mentors and what they do, and the thing is, it's tough is that in business, especially when you're online, social media, you compare yourself to other people's
Yeah.
success,
Yep.
but you can't. And that's what I did at first, which was
Mm,
tough. That was a struggle. And I'm not going to lie and say I don't. I'm getting better at it now.
right.
But when you do see people succeeding, you only see that success, but you don't know what level they're at,
Right.
right? So you can't compare your chapter 1 to their chapter 15 or
Mm,
whatever you may be. So that can be adversity in itself, because that can knock you off your game.
yeah.
Well, this guy started and this guy's super successful in 6 months, and why am I not? And that's dangerous, because it doesn't matter. Your journey is your journey. So for me, just getting into the online space and realizing that what I put out there to the world is what I'm going to get back. So I do social media advertising and marketing. So you put out that energy to the world, and those are
Hmm.
the people that you're attracting to your business. So if you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling um at the level you want to be, then you can't expect to get the people that you want in your life. So those kind of things I feel have had a huge impact for me. And just learning the day-to-day stuff, just the consistency, the real simple stuff of being consistent every day
Yep.
is and being, when you're in charge of your own, when you're your own boss, it can be, it's your worst enemy too, because you are in charge to make sure things get done. So those have definitely been challenges that I'm constantly overcoming, becoming disciplined. I'm trying to read more books on discipline.
Yeah.
Just really the foundational stuff
Yep.
can be the hardest sometimes. So
yeah, dude, that I definitely resonate with that, man. One of my big challenges was getting into an environment that supported me being a high performer, you know? So it's like, oftentimes I would work from home, and I would find there was like challenges in my comfortability. I would take it easy. I would, you know, go relax when I was supposed to be working and had things on the schedule. And it's like, hey, you know, get myself out of my comfort zone, go somewhere, you know, have a virtual office or something like that I go, networking, co-working space, whatever it might be, and just like really get myself out there more, and so that I can experience the world. And then that like stimulated me, you know, like experiencing new environments was super huge for me. And I know that, you know, that discipline is super important. So it's like the place that I started was my calendar, man. It's like, how do I be disciplined with my priorities and just make sure that I'm getting the most important things done first, so that like everything else falls into place. It's like, we got to be clear on who we are, what we value, what are the priorities, and like staying in our lane and not trying to do everything. That was a huge thing for me as well. It's like shiny object syndrome, trying to do everything at once. And it's like, dude, you got to stay focused on the target and like become a finisher. I was a really great starter. I had so many brilliant ideas, and be a finisher. Like entrepreneurship and follow up, especially with like relationships, building relationships. It's about being a finisher. It's about being someone who continues to show up again and again and again. And if it takes 20, 30, whatever times, like you're still there, letting the person know, hey, I'm here. I'm going to keep consistent with you. You can trust that I'm going to be here 1 year from now. And like in the meantime, I'll keep checking in on you until you're ready to buy or take the next step or whatever else it might be, you know?
yeah, I totally agree. And it's the nurturing the relationship, and it's not always about looking for the sale. It's
Right.
it's adding that value so that they like, know, and trust you, right?
Yep.
And yeah, no, and it's like you said, it's funny because it's all the simplest disciplines that build momentum for your day.
Mm.
You know, I started out the first time I started doing the cold shower thing.
Yeah.
Really, I started doing that probably 2 years ago now. I read it in Tools of the Titans, Tim Ferriss. That comes from obviously Wim Hof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wim Hof method, cold shower, Tony Robbins. I started to read that, and then now it's become it's very popular. I use that as a tool for discipline. Like my shower is ice cold, and you get out of the shower and then you're like, boom, I've tackled that first thing, right? And then it's like, you know, you just got to make your bed, you know, meditation. Then you start to build your confidence for the day. If I don't get those things right when I get out of bed, like if I don't say I'm getting up at 8:30 right now, then I slack all day long.
Yep.
Like if I don't want to shower today. I'll just do a short meditation. And then all of a sudden I'm slacking at the gym.
Yep.
I'm slacking in my business. Nothing matters in my relationship. You know, like, well, let's just, you know, we're not going to go out tonight. We'll just, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of, your whole life just becomes a slack job. Yeah. But when you know that you're disciplined from when the second you get up, it's like, boom, no, I'm not going to cut the corner here. I'm just going to be solid through, like, you know, being honest with yourself all day. And I battle with this every single day. Yeah, man. Every single day. I haven't mastered it yet. Anybody that has a master plan for this, I would love to hear it. But yeah, like that really sets up the whole trajectory of your day is just those little steps, you know?
Dude, that's so powerful. Like, what do you find keeps you accountable the most? Like, what do you leverage to really make sure you show up and do the thing that you know to do, like to be able to be better and bigger than the adversity?
I'm working on that, and I need some sort of accountability tool because currently, you know, with the days that I don't do anything, I don't see sales in my business, I guess, at the end of the day. There's not money coming through, right? But sometimes money can come later on from the work you're doing now.
Dude, that's the biggest like mind F ever, you know? It's like what you did 90 days ago, it's like now it's producing. It's like, oh, great.
Totally, man. Totally. Like all this, I invested in my business, growing all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, let's go. But yeah, that's the thing is that like, I almost need like that, some sort of design something to be more accountable, because that's the thing. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody is one. Some people need the boss to tell them, hey, Johnny, make sure this is done. Okay. And that's not always a bad thing, you know. Some people live a good life structured like that. And that's the thing. That's the one side about, you know, when you're running things for yourself, is that you gotta know, like, something's got to hold you accountable here, right? So
that's the power of coaches, dude. Coaches are amazing for accountability. They've like transformed my life. And I think the other thing is, like, we are conditioned not to like be the leader, the king, the champion, so to speak, that makes the directive decisions. We're taught to fit in. We're taught to take other people's instruction. I know for me, like, I was an all-star student. I got like A's, you know, A's and some B's. So I was like super good at following instructions. Went through college, got my electrical engineering degree. And it's like, great. Now I go into entrepreneurship. I'm like, damn, I suck at this. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to like spend any time on it. Like, I hate sucking at things. You know, I love winning. I love being good. I love being effective. And I found that like years ago in entrepreneurship, I was like, damn, this sucks. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at sales conversations. I'm not good at like really asking for the sale and, you know, showing up consistently. Like, I'd rather just go be comfortable and play video games and watch movies. And it's like, to condition yourself into that person, that leader, it takes work, it takes time, and it takes, you know, systems and strategies and people around you who hold you to a higher standard than you hold yourself, so that you can start becoming that king. You know, I believe that we're all like kings and queens of our own worlds, our own kingdom, our own dominion. And when we recognize that we have that kind of power, that kind of responsibility, then we show up as a different human being. Same thing with being a father or a mother, right? Like, we may not have kids yet, and we can still show up as the father of our dream, the father of our business, and we're ruthless, we are relentless, we are tenacious, we fight for the survival of our business, because it's still an infant, it's still in infancy, it's still like a little seedling learning how to sustain itself and put the systems and processes in place and people in place so that it runs itself. Because that's, I think, what a lot of influencers want to do, is get to the point where they're like, hey, you know, I can walk away from my business for 3 months and come back and it's grown. You know, that's the dream for everyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. It's yeah, it's entrepreneurship. You know, what I could say to somebody, I would say, you know, if you're going to get into this, it's going to highlight all your weaknesses, and it's going to throw them in your face.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you think you know what's like, I'll tell you, man, I realize the stuff that I somehow got through high school without having to learn much. You know, hey, what's the answer? You know, all this crap. I know that I was a smart kid, but I didn't apply myself. I just took the easy way out. And I realized even through, you know, being in bars and all that kind of stuff, I just somehow got away with stuff. I got away with, I only had to do what I had to do. Now I'm really realizing, like, I need to learn how to learn properly as well. A lot of, like, I know it sounds funny, but there's techniques that I think people take for granted with learning new things. And when you realize that, hey man, you can't cheat your way out of this. You got to learn this or you're not going to get it done. You know, you start to really realize, and just like super normal things that people take for granted, that, well, I took for granted, that I realized I had to learn, just organizational stuff. And it definitely highlights your weaknesses and forces you to grow. So it's a beautiful thing.
You're signing up for the University of Adversity, baby.
That's exactly what. Totally, man. Like, man, the school of the hard knocks, right?
That's right, man. I love it. I love it. And you know, that's something that's really incredible about mastery, right? Robert Greene's Mastery is a really great book. I don't know if you had a chance to check it out. Check it out if you haven't. It's really, really good. And the process of mastery is phenomenal. And when we recognize that the master, the activities and actions that they appear to do so naturally, so easily, so fluidly. At one point, the master was a disaster, right? So like, they had to grow through that. And it's the same thing as you're a child and you're learning to walk to be able to run, you know? And what we're able to do is just stay focused on that vision, stay focused on the solution, stay focused on where you're going, and use that to pull you through the adversity. Because like, that's what a kid did. The kid's like, hey, I see all these adults like walking and stuff around me, and like the baby's like, how do I walk? Like, I want that. Give me that. Like, I want that superpower. Anything is possible, right? So they keep going. Even if they fall on their face 100 times, they'll still keep getting up because they see it's possible. And I think that's the superpower of having mentors and coaches and leaders around us who demonstrate the expertise in whatever the skill is that we can leverage. Hey, they're doing it, so I just got to keep moving forward. I got to surround myself with them more. I got to hang around them more. I got to ask them questions. I got to understand their mindset, study them more, and that takes time. You know, Malcolm Gladwell talks about in Outliers, it takes 10,000 times to be successful. You know, to be an expert in something, and I think it's so true. To become a master in something, like it really takes a long time, and we got to be willing to put in that work and sign up for that long, arduous journey, because otherwise it's like if we get it too fast, then we won't take it you know, we'll take it for granted. We won't really cherish that achievement, that celebration.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because I was thinking of writing that on getting a thing that says repetition equals mastery, you know, because you know, I've been really thinking in my head, discipline equals freedom.
Yep.
Repetition equals mastery, you know, like you have to repeat something over and over and over again for it to become, you know, to get into your subconscious mind. And I listened to a really cool YouTube yesterday about that. And sometimes it feels like, well, why am I doing this? Right. Yeah. Especially with affirmations. Right. And you need to do it over and over and over again for it to happen, to get embedded. That's why all this stuff, gratitude and stuff, is so important. But like you're doing with anything, repetition, you got to do it over and over and over again. Just like if you're trying to be a pro athlete, like I'll use my hockey, for example. You know, I had to take thousands of shots, thousands of practice shots in my backyard to get to even the level. And some of the guys that play the NHL would, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of shots. You know, you don't just walk in and become a pro. You got to practice over and over and over again. And I think if people realize that analogy, that you have to repeat it over and over again to the point where you don't even think about it. It becomes unconsciously competent. I think that's what Jordan Belfort says, or something like that, where you don't even think about it. Right.
Yep. Yeah, it's going from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, which is like you don't know that you don't know, then you know that you don't know, and then conscious competence, which is and that you know, and then like it's automatic. It becomes automatic with the unconscious competence. So it's like subconscious, automatic. That's where the master is. You know, they don't even have to think about it because they've done it so many times. And it's interesting because in that process, it's so not glamorous. It's so not fun. It's so not, you know, like exciting. And if you stay focused on that end result, you'll keep taking those actions. You'll be inspired and emotionally congruent and feel the emotions and experience the emotions of success, of that, you know, glory of the prize, of the quote unquote end of at the top of the mountain. And like, you just got to keep putting in the work until, and it's like when you're at that point of truly saying, I will do this until I get there, that's when life starts to like fold and bend around you and move out of your way, and also to deliver things, miracles, circumstances into your life so that you can like get there and succeed. Because it wants to, like, life, there's like an energy. It's an energy of, okay, well, if you're really obsessed, if you're really going to do it, then we'll help you. If you're a 99% person, then we're going to keep putting stuff in your way to attack that 1% until you are fully congruent and fully aligned with the 100% of you're willing to do whatever it takes as long as it takes.
Yeah, and it's not like there's ever going to be a sign like, this is it, you did it, like here you go, like, you know what I mean? Like, right. It's like sometimes when you're doing these things, it's like, well, is it working? Is this going to happen? It's like, you got to trust the journey, right? Man. Trust the process, because sometimes people just want this tangible thing that's going to go ding, ding, ding. You've done it. Yep. Woo! You know what I mean? Yep. Like, it doesn't work like that. Well, maybe for some people, but a lot of times you just need to trust it. You got to just say, enough successful people have told me this. Yeah. You know, am I in a place like, why are these people saying that? Let's try it. Let's be 100% certain. And I think you can agree with me that we both tried to adopt that into our lives. And in 5 years from now, I'm sure we're going to be looking back and going, wow, I'm glad we trusted that process.
Dude, you know Lewis Howe, School of Greatness? Yeah. So I think he's at what, like 5 or 6 years of doing his podcast, and he's doing, millions of downloads a month, and people listening. It's like, it takes that long, like get ready, get ready to do it until. And I think it's just like, I love how you said earlier about you are aligned and you are lined up with this is your purpose. You feel it, your body. It's like, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like, let's go and let's keep moving forward, taking one step at a time. Cause I think that's everything, man, is saying, this is it, this moment, this purpose that I'm in, this vehicle, this business vehicle, this, group, this community that I'm serving, whatever it might be, this is it. And like showing up as if it's it. This is all that there is. So let's give 110% to this, because who knows if there will ever be anything else. I'm not counting on there being anything else. I'm trusting and having faith that this is it. And if something better shows up, great. And this is it,
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, it's funny because Lewis Howes was somebody that I really looked up to, and I joined his like inner circle group. So he teaches a whole bunch of stuff, and it was super valuable at just kind of learning the foundations of a lot of the different things. But it's amazing when you know that something you're doing feels right in your heart. And I think a lot of times people don't act on things. They use their brain to make all the decisions, their mind, and they talk themselves out of their heart. And sometimes I feel like if we follow our heart more, it may not seem as smart on paper, but it's going to get you to where you want to go in a better way, and it's going to impact more people. So yeah, it's an amazing feeling to follow through with something that you truly feel is aligned with your true higher self and your purpose. So
yeah, 100%, man. I love it. So Lance, we're beginning to wrap up now, and we want to know, like, what are the final takeaways, final piece of wisdom our audience, our listeners who are like tuned in and they're loving this, like what do you really want them to take action on and implement in their life? And of course we're going to talk about how they can stay connected with you and what they can do next on their journey. And as far as just like the mentality, the adversity, how to approach that, what's the final takeaway?
I would say, look at your life, look at the things that happened, and ask yourself, like, how can you grow from this? Why did this happen? And how can you use it as fuel? Like, how can you use this to create something positive? Because bad things are going to happen to us. That's just life. You either can go down the road of feeling sorry for yourself and letting it, burn your house down, or you can use it as fuel and light, blaze the trail ahead, like it's literally like, take inventory and understand what things have gone on, and empower yourself to use the struggles and to those tips and tools to go on to do things, to do positive things, instead of worrying about, the different things that have gone on to your life. Like, understand that, wow, I can use this and I can grow from this. So, and each story can help inspire somebody else. So your story matters. Everybody's story matters in one way or another. So if you're not being your true authentic self and sharing that with the world, then you're actually being a disservice, because somebody out there could need your message. And, if you don't speak up, if you don't follow your heart, then somebody won't hear that message. So,
yeah. Dude, I'm so stoked for your journey and your communication ability, because this is like just the beginning of your journey, man. Both of ours, our journey is like, this is just the beginning, and to like know that there's so much mastery ahead of us and expansion, and just totally using these different tools and resources and skills and abilities. Like, I'm so stoked for you, man. And something you said about how can you use this as fuel, and in my mind I was like, dude, what people really get to do is create a turning point in their life where they say no more, right? Like where they like you, how you got to that point where you're like, dude, I'm not showing up as the family man that I want to be. I'm not, like loving these people, how much they deserve to be loved. I'm not, taking care of myself, being in integrity with myself, living my purpose, my truth. So I said no more. And I started out on this path of personal development. I did one of those too. Like I said, hey, I'm at this rock bottom moment. I'm not going to keep spending my life like this. And I just recognized, dude, that there's another opportunity for me, like, to say no more to like ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And like the like, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, like to really just trust that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to freaking light a fire under my ass, and like every day go balls to the wall, you know, whatever it takes, as long as it takes, and saying, hey, I spent these 6 years or whatever, like going through my entrepreneurial journey, doing ups and downs, like just getting by, or like just surviving, or whatever else it might be. And this is an example for anyone listening or watching or whatever, like to make that turning point and tell people that you were going through this and then you made that decision. And the more times you share that story, post it up on a sticky note, post it up in your car, post it on your background of your phone, saying, I was this person, now I'm this, and remind yourself and keep programming yourself, like you said, Lance. Like that is what will change everything around. When you become definite and determined in your story and your identity about who you are and how you're willing to show up, it changes everything. Everything, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Be willing to show up for battle, because the battle is where the growth is.
Dude.
You know, like you gotta slay. You gotta go through the dragons of life. There's no dragons, you don't get to the kingdom. You know, you don't become the king that you want to be. Like you said, king or queen in your own story. Yeah. You gotta be willing to, to sharpen that sword along the way, so
100%, man. 100%. Lance, this is gold, dude. People definitely want to know how they could stay connected with you. How can they access your podcast? What are their next steps, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So on social media, it's Lance W. Essihos. I'm highly active on all the platforms, especially Instagram and Facebook right now. So Lance W. Essihos.
Beautiful.
Also, my website is days away from launching. So it's lanceessihos.com. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes.
lanceessihos.com, which you're going to have access to the podcast, University of Adversity, and a bunch of different marketing materials. And if you want to access the podcast directly, it's University of Adversity podcast.com. So, cool. I'm super excited. I really appreciate you having me on, man. I love chatting with you. You got amazing energy, and it's just been an absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you, man. And hey, I always tell my listeners to subscribe to our show, and of course, and definitely subscribe to Lance's show, University of Adversity. Search it on iTunes. Go give him a review. He recently launched it, and just make sure that you are supporting this man, because he is absolutely blowing up. I see such big things ahead of you, man, and just being an absolute like heavyweight in the influencer world, the empowerment, personal development, marketing, and business world. And just like, dude, you're rocking it. Keep up the heat, man. I'm super proud of you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It's been an absolute honor to have a chat with you, bro.
Awesome, man. Lance, have the best day ever. We'll see you soon, okay?
You, man. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Cheers, man.